At the weekend we saw Brexit finally carried out both in the UK and the implications at the EU, the British flag removed. Joining me is the British High Commissioner to Australia, Vicki Treadell. High Commissioner, thanks so much for your time. What are the implications of Brexit now that it's happened for the Australia-UK relationship?
Well, I think they go from strength to strength. That is our intention. Both our governments have stated the political priority, the importance of the relationship. And, I'm delighted to say that our Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab, will be making a tour of Asia Pacific, and Australia will be his first port of call after Brexit.
And when is that happening?
It'll be happening in the next week. I can't, as you'll appreciate, go into the specifics now, but all will be revealed in the coming days.
And so what in that meeting, that series of meetings between Dominic Raab and his counterparts here, what exactly do you want to achieve in the short term? Because I know that Boris Johnson, his view when he was Foreign Secretary was of a global Britain. What does he want from allies like Australia in terms of greater engagement? Obviously it's not just trade.
No, it is but the breadth of our relationship. So of course he'll be meeting Maurice Payne and they'll be talking about the big global agenda issues and really to take this relationship to a new strategic level. How we work together, where we work together. A particular priority for both our foreign ministers is the international rules-based system. The rule of law, the norms, preserving those in a world that seems a bit more fractious, a little less stable than it used to be. So partners and allies like Britain and Australia who believe in democracy, the rule of law, due process, how do we work together on that? For example, a very recent decision that both our countries have taken is to uphold the sanctions against Russia because of the Ukraine. So these are things that we do together and we need to do more of that.
Well, one of the rules-based systems at play when we talk about international norms and so on that Australia has signed up to, it might have copped criticism along the way for its approach, but it's still a signatory to the Paris Agreement on climate change, and yet there are real differences between the Tory government, Conservative government in the United Kingdom, which is very, it's a forward-leaning when it comes to dealing with climate change. Boris Johnson has repeatedly committed to zero net emissions by 2050 and embraces that goal. Our government has a different set of priorities and highlights different issues when it comes to that particular area. How do you try and find some common ground there?
Well, we focus on where we agree. So there's a lot of work that we're doing together, for example, in supporting the Pacific Island countries who are at the forefront of the impact of climate change. How we help them to adapt their resilience, mitigation against the effects of climate change, the joint development programs that we hope to do with Australia on that front. Every country has to decide what is right for itself. So where Britain has set its ambitions, we're hosting COP26 this year, which is a statement of our intent to continue to play a leadership role globally.
Yeah, that's the climate talks in Glasgow later in the year, which, as you say, you're hosting. I wonder in that context, and given the forward-leaning position that Boris Johnson and the Tory government takes on it, will you be encouraging the Morrison government to scrap the Kyoto carryover credits?
That is a decision for the Australian government. Where we want to work with Australia is in the area where we have common ground. You heard your own Prime Minister last week make an important speech at the Press Club here in Canberra. A focus on technology, on renewables, on transforming the economy. Those are areas where Britain can lean in and work with the Australian government. It will be a win-win for both our governments. And new technology is really important for the century to come on how we deal with delivering energy to our communities and to the world. So I think here there are opportunities to create new jobs, to create new industries. So that will be an area of focus for us with the Australian government.
But obviously the Prime Minister, Mr Johnson, will want a tough agreement at the end of the talks at the end of the year. They will be putting a bit of heat on our delegation, surely.
Well, look,
excuse the pun saying putting a bit of heat on them, but they will. That's the bottom line in a political sense, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Australia is a close friend, so we have honest conversations with friends. And between now and the Glasgow meeting, conversations will continue. There is an opportunity, and that's the purpose of these meetings, where the world gathers, where they discuss the issue of the day, and they try to reach consensus so that we can agree a new framework going forward. I don't want to prejudge what that's going to be, but I know on our side we will be looking for everybody to do what they can, mindful that they have their own interests too in developing their own economies, in transforming their economies, in preserving jobs, but importantly to create the new jobs of the new century.
And when you say the conversations are being had, does that include on that specific thorny issue of contention of the carryover credits? Will Britain be making that known?
As you know, Kieran, I will not go into the specifics of what has or has not been discussed. Suffice to say, this is a subject that we do discuss, and we do so as mates, and we do so because we understand each other and respective challenges.
And on the trade deal, you know, the broader issue that we spoke about, when do you want that? When do the parties want that done by?
I think we're ambitious. We would like to do something as soon as it can be achieved. So we're looking for something a year or a little bit longer. We have, first of all, as you will appreciate, a priority to sort out our future relationship with the EU.
Sure.
And indeed, getting that right also helps inform what we do with everybody else.
Does that include freedom of movement in terms of Australian citizens and being able to work in the UK and vice versa as part of the trade deal? Would you be that ambitious to look at that?
I think what we're clear about in any trade negotiation, you do discuss immigration. We have already declared publicly, indeed it's a compliment to Australia, that we want to adopt a similar points-based system. We want to attract the best talent to the UK. So we need young Australians to work in the City of London, across all our business and industry. We want them to feel free to come to the UK, but what immigration rules will apply, we shall see, because this is work in hand.
High Commissioner Treadell, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.